The Song of Solomon, chapter 4, verse 8. Come with me from Lebanon, my spouse, with me from Lebanon. Look from the top of Amana, from the top of Senir and Hermon, from the lions' dens, from the mountains of the leopards. Now the exiles are to leave with God. They are to leave Lebanon, which is the temple, and they are instructed to look from the top of Amana, and two other places are named Senir and Hermon. Now Amana comes from the same root as emunah, which means faith or faithfulness, and produces the well-known word Amen. God is telling them to remember the faithfulness that their ancestors had shown and the reward that they had received. Now the ancestors had to traverse the territories of Senir and Hermon. These were two mountain peaks that stood guard over the eastern approaches to the land of Israel and were the dens of lions. Here the Jews conquered the two giants Og and Sichon and their armies. Numbers chapter 21 verse 21 following. God is saying, when in exile and you stand upon these foreign territories, remember the faithfulness of your ancestors and learn the lesson. Now let's go back to the time of Og and Sichon. Sichon means striking down, and the city in which he lived was called Heshbon, which means accounting or calculation. The first time the people of Israel had sought to enter the land, you remember the spies brought back an evil report, telling the people that the inhabitants were too strong and numerous to defeat. In other words, they were calculating, which is the meaning of Heshbon. They were calculating in the natural and concluding that it couldn't be done. Now, isn't it true that there is always some calculated reason why we can't go in and possess what Christ has won for us? And we need to guard against that there's always reasons why not to do something. Now, to summarize this verse, 1, God would go with them into exile. That was great news. 2, in exile, they are to remember the victories that they had won in the past. Because it's one thing to be an exile and quite another thing again to have an exiled mentality. And we are to remember the victories of the church, of the saints of the past, and our own victories. Remember, the word says, doesn't it? Count your blessings. That's the old song. Count your blessings. Think of all the good things that God has done for you and match them up, and it cheers the heart, and it encourages us and emboldens us to go out and claim our possessions, take the land that Jesus has won for us.